All right, guys, we've gotten to your last note video of the week. I hope y'all are doing well. I hope your family's doing great. Remember, if you need anything, just email me and I'll do the best I can to help y'all out. All right, we're gonna talk about the vertex form of a quadratic function. So far in all quadratic functions, we've always put it in standard form, that ax squared plus bx plus c. We've always changed it to standard form. Well, there's another form called vertex form. Vertex form is used if the only information you have is a point on the parabola and the vertex. So this is just assuming we don't have the equation yet. The only information we have is the vertex and one point. This is going to show you how you can convert it or convert that information and get standard form so that we can graph it and solve it and whatnot. All right. So our example is a quadratic function that contains the point 3, 6. So 3, 6 is on the parabola and the vertex is at 2, 4. We are going to use this information to turn it into vertex form and then into standard form so that you would then be able to graph it and solve it. Okay. Here is your equation for vertex form. F of x equals a, open parentheses, x minus h, close parentheses, to the power of 2 plus k. And you are not expected to memorize that. That, along with the quadratic formula, are on a formula chart, so it is not something you have to memorize. All right, so early in the example, I said it goes to the point 3, 6 and the vertex 2, 4. So each one of these numbers matches up with one of our variables up here. So when you look at just the point, right, this is just a random point on the parabola. The first number is your x, the second number is your y, right, just like coordinate points. Your vertex, the first number is going to be your h, the second number is going to be your k. So remember, it is important the vertex has the h and the k. The random point on the parabola has the x and the y. Okay? Reminder, f of x and y are the same thing. So when you look at this formula, when it says f of x, you can also read it as y. So your y value and your f of x are the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I just rewrote the vertex form down here, and we're just going to start plugging in these numbers. So instead of x, I'm going to put a 3. Instead of f of x, I'm going to use y, 6. Instead of h, I'm going to use 2. Instead of k, I'm going to use 4. So when I write it out, it will look like this. The only variable you should have left is a. That's what we're solving for. And again, all of these numbers just came from the information I gave you up here. I'm going to start doing the math. So first, what's in parentheses? 3 minus 2 is just 1. Next, we're going to do 1 squared would just be 1, and then 1 times a would just be a. So that means a plus 4 equals 6. Well, if I subtract 4 from both sides, that means 2 equals a, or you could read it as a is 2. So, okay, with this information, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite our vertex form with, that's what the little w slash means, with 2 as a, and we're going to use the vertex for k, or for h and k. So we're just rewriting our vertex form. I need to try to cover up part of this while I expose it. Okay, so the vertex form of this function would be f of x equals 2, right? That's our a that we just solved, 2. X is going to stay there. This 2, this second 2 right here, comes from our vertex. That's our h. And then this 4 is the k. So all I did was I rewrote this using 2 as my a because we solved it, and then use the vertex that I gave you for the h and the k. F of x stays as f of x, and x stays at x. This is called your vertex form. This is the vertex form of the quadratic function. Now your vertex form is just not super useful for solving or graphing, so we're going to change it into standard form. All we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and solve this part. So we have x minus 2 squared. So this middle part, you can foil it, or you can do this square off to the side. So I did x minus 2 times x minus 2, and I got x squared minus 4x plus 4. If you don't like this box, you could also just foil it. So I'm gonna plug that in right here. All I did was took my x minus 2 squared and solved it. I still have the 2 on the outside. I still have the plus 4 on the other side. Simplify it a little more. I went ahead and distributed my 2 to everything that was inside the parentheses and kept my plus 4 on the outside. Remember, plus 4 was not inside the parentheses, so the 2 does not get distributed to this second plus 4 over here. And then I can go ahead and combine like terms. I've got that 8 and that 4. So I end up with 2x squared minus 8x plus 12. That is your standard form. That's the form you would want to use for solving. That's the form you would want to use. This is what you would plug in the calculator to go ahead and graph it. All right, so this is how you go from a point and a vertex to vertex form and then down to standard form. I can't zoom out anymore, but here it is. If you have any questions, let me know. You're not gonna have an IXL over this. You're actually gonna have a Flipgrid video to do. I'm gonna go ahead, and since I don't have y'all's permission, you're gonna turn in the Flipgrid video and it's going to stay private. That means when you turn it in, it's not going to show up on the page, because I know some of you are a little freaked out about people seeing your videos. They're going to stay private. On Friday at 5 o'clock is when it's all due. So right after that, I will put in your grades. If you notice that it ends up being missing, but you're like, oh, Miss Gothard, I did turn it in, then at that point you can send me an email and let me know that there was a problem.